Hey everyone, Miss GoElectric here, and today we are doing another In Charge segment. And this is where I interview leaders in the industry to find out a little bit more in depth about their stories. And today I have the pleasure of being joined with Leah Spano, who is the brand director for Aventon eBikes. And I'm sure many of you guys have seen lately that I've reviewed some of their bikes, and I definitely believe that they are the benchmark when it comes to build quality, and they really make some great options. So, Leah, thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
How did you get into your role? I want to dive a little bit more deeper into that because you said you're relatively new to the brand, but how did you find your way into this position? And can you just explain a little bit more about what drew you to Aventon?
Absolutely. So I was introduced to the team at Aventon by someone in my professional network who had a really clear understanding of my personal values and lifestyle interests, which I think is really important as a marketer to be genuinely passionate about your brand and industry because it makes storytelling so much more authentic. And then when I had the opportunity to meet with the team, I found that it was made up of some of the most brilliant and forward-thinking people that I had ever met, which was really inspiring. And then it was also really important to me to have the opportunity to not only meet with the executive team, but the immediate team who, really brings the vision to life every day, and getting an understanding of their world. And honestly, every single person that I met really blew me away. And then there was the product. There's nothing like it. As we talked about, our founder and CEO has put so much love into building this brand that's fully integrated from start to finish, which enables us to have such an attentive eye on every detail of the product, from conception to ending up in the customer's hands. And it was all just so impressive to me. And so all those factors made it really easy for me to step into my role and say yes to joining the team.
So, how big is that team?
Gosh, I think that we're probably close to about 100 people now.
Wow. Are most of them based out of California?
We do have some remote workforce, but yeah, most of us are within Southern California. We obviously have a strong team in China as well at our factory. But yes, centrally located in Southern California.
Do you know how many bikes that are sold in a year are classified as e-bikes?
Yeah, so we know that e-bikes are currently outselling traditional bikes, and we currently own about 10 to 15% of those category sales. But in the last few years, we've looked at the trends and we have seen that US consumers have adopted e-bikes pretty quickly, and we don't expect that momentum to die down in the foreseeable future.
Yeah, for sure. Now, do you ride an e-bike?
I do. I absolutely ride an e-bike.
Which one do you ride?
So I fell in love with the Adventure. I had the pleasure and opportunity of riding all of our models to determine which one would be the best for my lifestyle. And I ultimately fell in love with the Adventure step-through e-bike. The combination of those 4-inch fat tires and the front suspension make it for such a smooth ride. And honestly, it's just so sturdy that I feel really comfortable, and I'm able to pull my 1-year-old in his trailer behind and know that we're both safe, we're both secure, and it's just super fun.
Yeah, and that's actually, I think, that I've talked about in my reviews about the strength of the brand too, is that you guys have such a plethora of accessories that you can add on to your purchase on your website, which the more versatility, the better for me. And I agree. I think the Adventure is a really great and versatile bike, but I like the cinch too. It's so hard to pick, so I don't know how you were able to narrow it down too much, but
I had a really hard time as well, and I did spend a lot of time on each one. And that's not to say that I won't evolve and continue to grow as the product line grows. But I do love, as you said, our accessories too. We are continuing to evolve those offerings so that you can really have just a cohesive collection of items that really personalize your bike and fit your needs.
what would you say is the most underrated quality of life enhancer or improvement associated with riding an e-bike?
Yeah, so I love that question. I really find that the sense of freedom and happiness that comes with owning an e-bike is one of the most beautiful things that I have personally experienced and really come to appreciate. And I love that what that freedom and happiness is can feel different from person to person. So whether it's the working professional who uses their bike as an escape after work to disconnect, or a retiree who suddenly gets to embrace time that's available to them and feeling that sense of nostalgia when they get on the bike like they did when they were little, our bikes just bring out something in people that make them feel so happy and so free.
I
Um,
definitely can relate to that. That's one of the reasons why I love e-bikes so much is because I can pretty much go wherever I want to go now, and I can stay out for a much longer period of time and travel a lot further and see more. And so that freedom is it's just so valuable to me, and I think more and more we'll see people realize that when electric bikes become more adopted, but there is still a little bit of that stigma from the traditional bike crowd of, oh, that's cheating. And so, what would you say to people that are kind of resistant in that fashion?
because we are so inclusive, there are a lot of people who are hesitant because it's not a traditional bicycle, whether they think it's cheating or whatever that is. But there's a lot of people who are just afraid to get on a bike. They think that they are not fit enough. They've had health challenges. And as I said, we are so inclusive. We really do find something for everyone. And so we try to eliminate that fear by giving you options of something that's going to be comfortable for you. And I think that if you go and test ride one and get on one, it will be hard to not fall in love with one of our bikes.
That's really how I feel about e-bikes too. So again, I can relate. So what is some main advice that you would give to help someone that's trying to decide which e-bike to purchase?
Absolutely. I would find a dealer in your area that sells Aventon e-bikes and take a test ride and find the one that feels most comfortable to you. We currently have over 800 dealers nationwide, so you can access checking out our bikes in person and making sure that it's comfortable and find that it really is such an amazing purchase. And so, yeah, I recommend you go to aventon.com and find a dealer and get on it, and you will fall in love.
People don't realize that Aventon's been around for a pretty long time. Is that right?
Yeah, it has been around. We're coming up on our 10-year anniversary this year. And so it's a big milestone year. And just to see the growth and the evolution of the brand is really, really amazing.
Being one of the largest volume bike companies, what can you give us a little bit more background on the story of the company for people that aren't familiar?
So what's really interesting about Aventon is that we're actually rooted in fixed gear bikes and evolved into electric. Our founder and CEO, JW, was an avid cyclist and recognized that fixed gear is such a niche market and that would eventually plateau in reach and growth. So he saw an opportunity to find a way to make riding a bike more accessible to more people by taking something that was super traditional, like a fixed gear bike, and make it an e-bike. So what's really impressive about JW is that he also came from a manufacturing background. So he had access to factories and connections to build every product to be incredibly well thought out with the topmost quality and an accessible price point to ensure that it was inclusive to the masses.
Can you give us a little bit of insight on the future and what the kind of the goals are moving
Yeah,
forward?
absolutely. So that's something that we talk about every single day. And for Aventon, we just really want to continue to grow our product line to make sure that we're catering to a broad audience to ensure that we are being inclusive of the masses while keeping a very close eye on that detail that JW has come to really perfect. We're also really dedicated to continuing to grow in other parts of the world and become more of a global brand. Our efforts right now have been really focused in North America, and so we want to continue to expand that and really share the love across the world.
There are going to be a lot of e-bikes that are adopted, not only from a men's perspective, but also a lot of females are getting into it as well. So what do you see right now in terms of the mix of female and male buyers at this point?
Yeah, great question. So the e-bike industry shows a 70-30 split of men versus women, and our sales honestly don't skew too differently from that pattern. But we are increasingly seeing women lean towards certain models in our lineup, like our Pace or Solterra, that may be a little bit less intimidating to them. But we also see a lot of men purchasing for females in their life. So we think that the rideability is probably closer to a 60-40 split, knowing that male riders are buying companion bikes.
They are the great equalizer. One of the reasons why I got into e-bikes is because, my partner, I wanted to be able to keep up. And although I can physically get there eventually, I'm not as strong as I wish I would be
Of
for
course.
being able to keep up with someone who is constantly training and going out all the time. So I really find it as a really great equalizer for people that they want to be able to spend more time together in a new way and a fun way. And so yeah, that's the one thing that I really love about e-bikes, and having the ability to choose from so many different options of styles, like a step through design. Those are
Absolutely.
my favorite.
Mine
I
too.
think it gives a lot more accessibility to people, and even to people that might have some, maybe they had knee replacement surgery or something like that, and they are gaining their strength back, but just need a little bit of assist. So I completely agree with you on that side of things.
Absolutely. We actually had one customer in particular. Her name was Jana, and her story absolutely blew me away. She was an avid cyclist and incredibly active before her diagnosis with ovarian cancer. I believe she had hiked all 48 4,000-foot mountains in New Hampshire. And once she got her diagnosis, she was really heartbroken at the thought that she would not be able to ride again or at the same capacity that she used to. And then
Yeah.
after overcoming her battle, she found the Pace 500, and it essentially gave her back like her freedom and that ability to get outside again, and something, that she never thought she'd be able to do again. And just her resilience and determination and ability to still settle up after that battle and then get out and live again and do something that brought her so much joy was just so inspiring. And I think it's just one of the many examples of giving people a sense of joy who thought that they may not be able to find it again.
What would you say that your brand's differentiator is compared to other competitors out there? Because there are so many to choose from.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that because Aventon is rooted in traditional cycling, that we now have the upper hand because we know bikes better than anyone in the industry. Our founder, JW, obsesses with every detail in the best way possible. He really has made it his mission to understand every aspect of the company. And because we're fully integrated, he's been able to put so much love and attention into every component, design detail, and even dives into the customer feedback with us so that we are continuously evolving and growing with our customer base. And then I think as a brand, that's really powerful because we're able to put a lot of focus on what the consumer really does value. And so that allows us to be very intentional about every single detail that goes into the creation of our models. For example, each of our bikes come in 2 frame styles, 3 sizes, and that's really just to ensure that we are being inclusive of everybody's needs who may be wanting to get on bike.
Yeah, and I'd add to that another unique thing is, I've reviewed several e-bikes, and a lot of them have a very, very simple computer display. But another differentiator for Aventon is that you guys actually have app integration, which I think is very unique and very cool. So can you talk a little bit about what the app does?
Absolutely. I love our app so much. It allows you to do so many things. Most simply, it allows you to track your mileage, battery life, so that you're physically looking at what you're doing. But then within the app, you can receive milestone medals, receive points that are redeemable towards purchases on Aventon.com for hitting certain milestones. You can connect with other riders and a lot more. Something else I love is that we give you access through the app too to any of our FAQs. So if you need help with assembly or any questions you may have, they're available at your fingertip, and you can even connect with customer service should you have any questions. So it's really intuitive and a really fun way to stay connected with your activity on the bike.
From a company perspective, is there anything more that you can elaborate on that perspective of being in e-mobility as a female and finding inspiration?
Absolutely. So I think that as we kind of talked about, people think it is really a male-dominated industry. But what I find is that it's really inclusive of all shapes, sizes, levels, interests. And I look at our product lineup and it makes me proud that there really is something for everyone. You don't have to be an avid cyclist or the most physically active to get on an e-bike. You just have to want that sense of adventure, and I'm confident you'll find that there's something for you. And I found that whether you want the ability to easily take like your bike on the go with the cinch e-bike, or you're looking for something that can handle more rugged terrains like the Adventure, Aventon really expands what's possible with consumers who may have thought the industry was out of their comfort zone.
Well, what a great conversation. Thank you so much, Leah, for joining me today. And I want to thank you as well because Aventon has provided a Pace 350 for our giveaway we're running right now. And if you want to win one of those, definitely check out the YouTube video review that I posted of the Pace 350 and enter to win by subscribing to our channel, but also making a comment in that video review telling us where you would like to go electric in your new Aventon e-bike. Until next time, drive, fly, ride. Go electric.